Welcome back in our all-star political panel on this Monday morning. We start with our White House correspondent Emerald Robinson down in our nation's capital. Congresswoman Nan Hayworth is back with us. Political analyst Mark Halperin is here, as well as constitutional attorney Amir Benno, and the host of Stacy on the Right, Stacy Washington, back with us this morning. Stacy, good to see you. I suppose, Stacy, we will start with you because you're joining us for the first time. I want to play you a soundbite from Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana after he decided to vote with Democrats on Saturday. Take a listen.
I had the privilege of having the facts before me and being able to spend several days deeply going into those facts. As these facts become more and more out there, if you will, and folks have a chance to look for themselves, more folks will move to where I was. People want to trust. They want to trust their leaders. They want people to be held accountable. Now, I'm attempting to hold President Trump accountable. And that is the trust I have from the people that elected me. And I am very confident that as time passes, people will move to that position.
Well, there is probably the most unpopular person in the state of Louisiana right now. Stacy, we'll start with you.
Well, so if there was any place for people to move to, they would already be there. So he's acting as if Senator Cassidy is behaving as if he has come upon some treasure trove of information that influenced his vote against the president, the former president. And that is why he did so, and that everyone else will just catch up once we've received the facts. His constituents are not feeling it. Most voters who were for President Trump before are still for him now. That's a huge army of Americans who really just want to see us focus on the current administration and stop trying to beat the dead horse of the presidency of Donald Trump. And I'm not saying that, you guys know I voted for him, but the fact is his presidency is over. This was an unconstitutional act that they engaged in. It had a positive result, but they've got to move on, and he's got to wake up to the coffee. He's in trouble.
Yeah, Mark, your reaction to that, and also Richard Burr. He wasn't on the he wasn't somebody I had circled as possible, but he's retiring in a couple years, so you did, Emerald? I didn't see him as going over to the other side. I thought he told
just how he conducted himself on the Senate Intelligence Committee related to the Russia investigation. I knew he was going to vote to impeach Trump.
But he wasn't. Was he part of that initial group that did?
No, but he also doesn't feel like he has ramifications. He's leaving that seat.
Yeah. And by the way, Trump could take his seat in North Carolina there too, which is just ironic. Mark, your thoughts?
I agree with Emerald. If you look at how Richard Burr conducted himself as head of the Intelligence Committee, he definitely was a candidate to vote against Donald Trump. I would say that I think Gavin Newsom is probably less popular in Louisiana than their senator, but it's pretty close now. And, every Republican who voted either to impeach in the House or to convict in the Senate is going to face a political challenge now, whether they're retiring or not, because in the view of most of the party, the activist wing of the party, what they did was not right. And it's going to be up to them to continue to try to explain it. Senator Cassidy doesn't face voters for another 6 years, but I guarantee you whenever he goes home, this is bound to come up.
Nan, do you think it was a profile and courage, Richard Burr siding with the Democrats, or just political theater?
No, I think this was all, Rob, this was all political theater. But certainly Richard Burr obviously doesn't fear any consequences. He's retiring. He had an ethical cloud over him about his investments last January. And, I think he would have faced political challenges if he were to run again, regardless. So, no, this was not courage. This was may even have been, an act of rebellion for some reason, but I wouldn't call it courageous.
Emerald, Lindsey Graham yesterday on Fox News said that Laura Trump is almost certainly going to be the Republican nominee for that open Senate seat in 2022 in North Carolina, which is just, that's ironic, but she's probably the most likely Trump on a ticket next.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I would agree with that where we stand today. Lindsey Graham also talked about the fact that he's going to go down and meet with former President Trump next week to talk about the future of the Republican Party in 2022 and getting candidates in to take back the House. I will say there is a little bit of concern amongst real America First supporters of the former president meeting with Lindsey Graham and Kevin McCarthy to pick candidates for 2022 and look at the kind of field they'd like to get behind, because people like those two talked Trump into supporting senators like Mitt Romney and Ben Sass, who went against him in impeachment, who were not America First candidates. And there's a little bit of concern if those are the two people talking in his ear about who he's going to back for 2022 to hold Republicans accountable.
Well, Amir, we made it through it. The final tally was 57-43 in the Senate, 7 Republicans crossing party lines. Did that number surprise you? Did you think it was going to be higher or lower?
No, it didn't surprise me. I thought that it might have been somewhat lower. But at the end of the day, I don't know what facts Cassidy was talking about that he has that the House managers didn't put out there in the trial. Are there still some facts sort of behind the curtain that we haven't learned about? I mean, one would assume that they put their best case forward, and the facts really weren't there. I think that those senators who voted to acquit, it wasn't an act of sort of a political lining up. It was first of all, they were convinced that it was not constitutional. It wasn't constitutional. There wasn't jurisdiction. It wasn't constitutional under the First Amendment. That there was no fact finding, that this was sort of a very snap impeachment, which set a terrible precedent. I think there's any number of reasons why people would line up to say, you know what, let's toss this out. And so I'm not surprised at the number at all.
All right, Nan, I'll give you the.
Is right too, Rob, because Bill Cassidy is saying, oh, well, when more comes out, I think I'll be vindicated. And based on the retraction from the New York Times in the last few days and some of the information we're finding out that the FBI is investigating regarding pre-planning, I think it might be quite the opposite for Bill Cassidy.
I mean, I just thought it was, Nan, I'll give you the final thought. You guys are coming right back after the break. But, you know, Joe Biden's campaign slogan, the battle for the soul of America, the battle. I mean, just the rhetoric that David Schoen put together in that video from the left. I watched the video, and you try to be, you know, I'm sitting there trying to be impartial. I watched the video. I said, all right, let's see what the left has said. We've dived into it a little bit over here on the panels, but I mean, my goodness.
No, they are the unsung, because we don't know who exactly created those videos, but they are the unsung heroes of this proceeding, because finally, perhaps some chunk of America that had not seen the lies, the hypocrisy, the deceptions of the Democrats fully displayed as they were in this compelling way, you know, in that sense, and I think this impeachment so-called trial, which wasn't even a trial, was a victory for President Trump and for the Trump coalition. And I think it helps solidify his position as a kingmaker in the GOP going forward.
Yeah, David Schoen, great quote, guys, and then we'll leave it there. A lie will travel halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to put its shoes on. I thought that was pretty good, pretty apropos for the moment. Stay where you are, panel. We'll be back with you right after the commercial break, and we're going to dive into Andrew Cuomo in schools. Should kids be back in schools? I think most of us think yes, they should.